Alright, welcome back to Zelda 2. We've reached one of the most difficult rooms in all of Zelda, in my opinion. Obviously the one we fought in the 6th dungeon was pretty fucking stupid. But this one's really bad too because right now I have my level 2 sword. In order to defeat the blue dark nuts, I need to hit them, I think it's like 3 or 4 times. And they do hurt me even with my blue ring on now. They still hurt me really badly. They kind of touch Link in his red flag zone. You know, you're not supposed to touch there. That's only for mommies and daddies. They're like, nah, man. Backstab, bitch. I'm gonna backstab your bitch ass. So, the reason why that's so difficult is because there is a whistle inside that the dungeon there, okay? I need the warp whistle. I don't think it is an option. I don't think it's optional. Because it's useful for fighting the boss that's in this dungeon. It also appears in later dungeons. So I don't know if he's required, if the warp whistle is required to beat the boss in this stage. And if it is not required, I can understand why it's not required. Because them dark nuts hit hard. And while I could technically go find another heart so that I would have, what is it, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 hearts. If I get an extra heart, I could go get my magic sword. But I don't have enough hearts, and I have to go find one of the places in the overworld that I have not gotten. I have not yet pilfered, yet dug up. It would make this dungeon a lot easier, because I would be killing things in 1 to 2 less swipes. Push. Push. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. I appreciate that they come to me, unlike, certain enemies do certain things. The mummies come to me, for the most part. The, bunny rabbit enemies tend to try and stay away from you. So they will try to flank you, but they won't intentionally try to come after you if you stand still. Dark nuts tend to be assholes where I know they have a set mechanic, but they always seem to turn towards you. If you're trying to, like, get up from behind them, they're like, nah, man, you can't get behind me. I'm gonna get behind you and punch you in your nuts. I wouldn't say this level's terribly long or terribly difficult, but there's just a couple boards here that are just fucking horseshit. Also, if I was smart, I would use bows. I would use arrows here. But I'm not smart. I don't know about that bow and arrow kills those guys with one hit. Alright, we cut back to outside the dungeon here. I cut away so that I could... I was looking for this, just to make a long story short. Instead of you sitting through, 20 or 30 minutes of me running around the map trying to figure out if there's any remaining hearts left, let me just cut straight to it because I'm gonna go get the sword now. So, it's about as early as you can get the sword. So that's what we're gonna do. And then we'll have big sword. We'll have big strong sword. We'll have big strong shield. We'll have armor, blue armor. Well, pretty much everything that we need to stomp, hopefully, the rest of dungeons 5 and 6. Maybe 7 even. 8 is where I believe either 8 or 9 where you get your upgraded ring to red armor. Don't remember which it is because I get a little bit confused because the game, the way the what the dungeons give you in most Zelda games, it's like you entered a dungeon, you picked up the hook shot, or you picked up, you know, the magic mirror, you know, picked up an item that either helps you get through a dungeon or helps you to progress. Very rarely you end up in a situation where you go and fight through a dungeon only to find that that dungeon gives you your upgraded armor, because guess what? Upgraded armor is not required for completing the game, nor is it required for you know, it doesn't stop you from skipping that dungeon till later on, because there's nothing in the dungeon that's holding you up from progressing to, say, dungeon 6 instead of dungeon 4 or 5. Anywho, we're gonna go get the sword now. We're gonna go get the sword now. That's what we're gonna do. And then we're gonna go back to 5. Get out of here. Da-da-da-da, I got my sword. Big boy sword. Nice. Bad rupee stacks. Probably don't want to fight ghosts. Probably not my smartest idea. I always find it interesting that certain Japanese developers, they find, you know, they create a game, and then in a lot of cases they'll either they'll remake the game without actually remaking the game. And what I mean by that is it's not every game. They don't redo it. Like Metal Gear, for example. You play Metal Gear 1, and then you play Metal Gear Solid 1. Those are very similar games. They're not identical, obviously, but they are very similar in terms of what you have to do to get through them. And certain aspects of those games are like near, I wouldn't say one-to-one identical, but you could definitely see there was a wink and a nod to the audience. Like, ah, you know what we're doing here, right? Yeah, you remember this, right? Zelda has some of that as well. Particularly when we're talking about, you know, some of the, what I consider the big games. Ocarina of Time, Link to the Past. They have a Lost Woods. They have a graveyard area. They have, you know, they have a, well, this one doesn't obviously, but they have a Castle Hyrule. They have, obviously not this one either, but you know, you have a desert area. Well, this one does have a desert area. This little area is considered the desert. You got a little shoreline. Those are all cool, right? And then, like, you know, later games obviously is you sort of expand the map. You get Spectacle Rock in this game. You get Spectacle Rock in Link to the Past as well, and you get I'm trying to think what else. Later ones, obviously, they start to introduce villages. So, like, you get Kakariko Village, or, you know, all of the villages, basically all the villages that are named in Zelda 2 are named after sages from, well, obviously, that game came before Ocarina, but they are named after the sages. Or the sages, I guess, are maybe named after them. I don't know. However you want to look at it. But yeah, I mean, all this stuff sort of... I hate to say this. Linked together! Yay, I made the pun. Hooray. They're all linked together. Not every enemy comes back, but a lot of them do. And when they don't, they come back with a vengeance in a really very, very, very difficult open world game. Like, Skyward Sword, or not Skyward Sword, Breath of the Wild. Hey, do you remember, Lionels? What do you mean you forgot what Lionels are? Okay, we're gonna put Lionels in this game, and we're gonna make them really fucking impossible to defeat. Will they throw beams? No, they won't need to throw beams, because they'll just chase you down with their big horse legs and kill you. Well, what about some of the bosses from here, like that three-headed dragon? Yep, we'll put the three-headed dragon in there. What about, I don't know if some of the other ones do. I have to imagine every Zelda enemy in this game pretty much probably appears in Breath of the Wild. With the maybe exception of a Dodongo, because Dodongos have appeared in so many Zelda games that if you happen to skip them this one time, I don't think anyone would notice. Not sure what I'm doing wrong here. Door should open, I believe. Unless I'm missing something. Anywho, guess I'll just ignore this like this doesn't exist. The one thing I hate about kind of living on my own, even though I like the privacy and the seclusion, and basically I'm the one responsible for taking care of the house, so I don't clean the bathrooms, or I don't, you know, mop the floors or sweep the carpet. That's on me. You know, I don't have to get mad at a roommate, a spouse, a child, be like, oh, why didn't you do that? Blah, blah, blah. However, what I hate about living alone is every so often I'll be sitting there and I'll hear something. Like, you know, you're not paying attention to it because it's pretty much silent in the house. So you're not going like, oh, what's that sound that I keep hearing that's rattling? Because if it was rattling, you would know that it's like your ventilation system, or you'd be able to walk towards it and try and pinpoint where it's coming from. Every so often, and this is just kind of randomly, I will hear like a squeak. And I don't know if the squeak is my floorboards, my house expanding or contracting during the winter time because it's winter time, and that's what happens with the house. Sometimes your house expands and contracts, particularly when it gets really cold, really fast. Or if I have a critter in my house, which is what I don't want. I don't want a critter in my house. So, got anti-critter. I've got anti-critter pellets out, or anti-critter, whatever you want to call it, food for them. That's you can't really get to unless you really break open the case where the food is. And I haven't seen anything eating out of that recently. But I've had some not so great luck recently with creatures. I think I mentioned earlier, I had a bat that was sitting underneath my, was underneath the overhang of my porch. My porch had a small roof overhang in case you want to sit out on the deck and not be in direct sunlight. And the little fucker got up in the corner there between where the house and the top of that overhang met, and he grabbed onto my siding. And I don't know if he was sleeping there or if he was dead, because every morning I would check on it and he would be in roughly the same spot. So maybe this is his favorite sleeping spot, maybe it's not. Well, long story short, he died at some point. Because I knew that at some point in October or November, he would have to migrate to a cave if he wanted to survive. Now, obviously, if he's dead, I mean, he's not thinking about, oh, well, I need to migrate. I'm dead already. So, yeah. So he was dead for who knows how long. We finally knocked him down and tucked him underneath my porch so he could rot. You know, the whatever can eat it. The bugs. Whatever can eat it. Turn it into nutrients. You guys are so fucking obnoxious, aren't they? Why am I killing them then, if they're so obnoxious? Because I'm worried that there's something in here that I need to get. Like a key, which they didn't obviously drop. So that's pointless. This room's a lot easier to deal with. Just gotta make sure that I kind of stay on a long side away from the mummy enemies, because they get shot all the way back, but if they're too close to you, or you're too close to them, they could ricochet and come right back at you, having not fully recovered, I guess. I don't know. This area is filled with these retards. I hate them. I hope they die. I will make them die. Maybe not right now, but later on. We will make sure they all are dead. They all stay dead. These fuckers take so many goddamn hits from my sword. You think with my most powerful sword it would be 2? Like 3. Anyone want to take a bet if I get through here without dying? I'll give you about a 50-50 chance. As you can see, these guys are not coming down to kill me, but I'm very liable to walk directly into where they're jumping. Also, yes, I should be using bow and arrow. Do I know that I should be using bow and arrow? No. Why? Because I'm an idiot. And this portion was recorded in the past. I didn't make it. Sorry. Looked promising there for a second, though. So a couple goals for level 5 is as follows. I need to get the item that's in this dungeon, which is the warp whistle. Number 2, I need to find and defeat the boss. And then once I do that, I need to obviously pick up the heart and get the Triforce piece, but those are the 2 main goals here. To get through the dungeon, find the item, and yeah. I know a while back, my brother and his friends got into Link to the Past. Yeah, it's Link to the Past randomizer. I am not a fan of I get the allure of a randomizer. I just don't like the possibility of every chest that you open up is a different thing. You know, obviously the point of the Zelda game is to collect pieces of either the Triforce or in Link to the Past, you collect pendants first, and then once you get to Dark World, you are unlocking the stages, basically releasing them from their prisons. But the way the randomizer works is any treasure chest can hold any other item in any other treasure chest. It basically randomizes which treasure chest has what. So, conceivably, you could go to a treasure chest that you can't get right away because you need, say, Power Glove, you know, to make you stronger so that you can, you know, pick up that stone or whatever to get to that treasure chest, okay? But at the same time, there's a possibility that the first treasure chest you open up, you know, something that should hold like a rupee, 5 rupees, 10 rupees or something, could hold, you know, red armor. Or could hold, you know, like a, I don't even know. I'm trying to think of something that would be sort of like an endgame item other than the red armor. That would not be static or fixed. Oh yeah, yeah. The silver arrow in both this game and Link to the Past is required to defeat Ganon. If you do not have silver arrows, you cannot beat the game. There's a possibility that you run into in your first drop, you run into silver arrows. There's also a possibility that you can't find silver arrows where it belongs. So I'm not sure if they're found in a treasure chest now that I'm talking out loud. They may be just in like a room. You know, you pick it up in a room or whatever. This is the Dogger thing. What we need to do is we need to hit it in its eyeball. Which is easier said than done, as he is far too wide and fat for me to hit with my sword. And I am a bit limited on what I can do. Secret power is said to be in the arrow. So that's the part where I realize I'm a big fucking dumb idiot. And that I should have been using bow and arrow on the bunny enemies. Whatever they're called. I'm gonna call them Tektites. That's not the right one. Those are the little jumpy guys. Tektites are the jumpy ones. The bunny rabbit ones, you know. And now I'm feeling stupid. Anyways, we'll cut the episode here. When we come back, we're gonna finish off the rest of this level, this dungeon, and yeah, we'll go from there. So, till then, I hope you guys all have a good one.